I think the thing that I love the most about working in theater and the entertainment arts in general is the creativity, is that every day changes. Every day there's something new. So I love that I'm not just using one part of my brain, I'm using my entire brain, my entire creative thought process, and I get to work with people that are equally excited about that and bounce ideas off of them. Hi, my name's Melissa Bennett. I'm the Scenic Charge Artist and Production Associate for Ensemble Theater Cincinnati, as well as a fight director here in the Cincinnati area, and an occasional technician and touring artist for museum companies and companies throughout the Cincinnati area. I've always loved doing make-believe. I've always loved creating environments out of nothing. I was very much of an artist growing up. My favorite kind of art is illustrative art. And really that's what theater is. Theater is bringing illustrated art onto 3 dimensions using real people. It's like playing, with your dollhouse in real life and actually getting to create these environments. And I realized as I was working through things in college that my time in the shops, my time on stage was my happiest times, that being able to have those moments and share those moments with other people was a blast. That as much as I love working in my studio by myself in my quiet time and getting to do my art, being able to share that process with other people was much more fulfilling for me. So it made a lot of sense for me to decide to pursue this as a full-time career. So one of my titles is fight director, which is a very fun way of saying I get to play with swords. I get to come into the room and I get to take a director's vision, and sometimes it's sword fighting, sometimes it's just how to fall down without hurting yourself. People think that they can just fall down, you probably end up with bruises. So my job is to come into the room and make it safe. Conversely, I will sometimes do workshops and just come in and I just teach kids kids and adults, how do you safely make it look like I'm punching somebody without actually punching somebody. Because as an actor, I have to be able to do this for 47 shows, and I cannot just keep getting punched in the face. So my job is to come in, make it look real, make it look believable, and keep it safe. My title at Ensemble Theater right now is the Scenic Charge Artist and Production Associate. My job is to take the designer's vision and paint the sets. I help him pick colors, I help him pick textures. We go through and figure out how that's gonna look under lighting. And I tie that all in together based on the artist's design and vision, and realize that all at the end for a show. My favorite thing about painting the sets is working with a designer to collaborate and bring their designs to life and bringing the blank page up with color. And I love getting to go in, and you don't just paint a wall flat. It doesn't just get one wash of color like you would in your house, because these environments have been lived in. I have to go in and put aging and different textures and make it feel like it's been there. And I absolutely love taking this blank wall and turning it into a space that looks like it's been lived in for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I got lucky. Cincinnati is a really great arts community with lots of levels of art. You can decide, I want to do professional theater and go work for Playhouse in the Park, or now I'm lucky enough I'm at Ensemble or Shakes. There's so many great professional houses. But there's also a ton of really great community theater where you can just do it casually for fun. I have met guys that were professional accountants or doctors that were doing shows at a community theater level that could have been on Broadway, but they thought they'd become an accountant instead. You can see just as amazing art in the small hole-in-the-wall theaters around this country as you can on the big stages with the big budgets. It's really all about bringing in the right people and putting the right things in the room. It's not about the amount of money. It's not about the size of the space. And you can still be a professional. I have literally never had to take a job outside of the arts since I graduated. And I've lived in Cincinnati as my primary residence for the last 20 years. I've done a little bit of everything. And I'm very lucky because that has really let me dip my toes and figure out what is my favorite thing. And I've said for a long time, if I could do nothing but paint imaginary houses for imaginary people and sling my swords around, that I would do nothing else. And I've finally gotten to that point where that is pretty much my primary 2 jobs. So there's a couple things that I tell anybody who wants to get involved in the arts. And number 1 is to fail big. Go out there, try it. Nobody is an expert on the first try. If you get it right the first time, it's either luck or you're a genius, and most people aren't geniuses. So you've got to go out there and just try it. Don't be afraid to fail. We as humans, as all creatures, learn the best by making mistakes. And what is important is what you take from those mistakes and how we grow from it. If you just think you're going to get it right in the first time and then you give up from there, then you're done. Learn, grow, and keep trying and figure out what can you do better. I have learned far more from my mistakes than I ever have from the things that I've gotten right the first time. One of the other big things that I always tell people is you should never be done learning. Always be curious, always try. Even if people consider themselves experts, if you think on your best teachers that you've ever worked with, they are still learning every day. It is my favorite thing about working with young artists is that they have a new way of doing things. And their way may not be right, but that doesn't make it wrong, because there's nothing better than looking at something and going, well, that's not quite how I would have done it, but keep talking about that. We might have something here. Because I've been trained on how to do things right as a professional, and now I'm stuck in my box of how do I do things. And if I don't get out of that box and continue being curious and continue learning new things, I will get stuck and it will all become stale and old. So I would say the number one thing that you can do is just stay curious all the time. So after you start feeling really good about yourself when you've learned something and you really start to feel like, I've got this, you then know how to do something. How do I build this? How do I say this? After you figure that out, figure out your why. Why do I do it this way? Why do I enjoy doing it? In stage combat, sometimes the why is because that's how my body moves. So when I teach somebody else, I might be able to do it, but you might not be able to do it the way that I do it. That doesn't make your way wrong. So understanding that the way I do it might be because it's more comfortable for me, but you might need to do something slightly different. There is never only one way to do something. So it's really important to understand your why so that as you grow, you can continue to refine that, and your how, you may find, may change as well. Dip your toes in the water and try the things you thought you were uncomfortable at. There's nothing wrong with doing theater only for fun. There's also nothing wrong with doing it professionally. There are plenty of opportunities out there if you're willing to work for it and you make the contacts to be able to get out there and do it, and it doesn't have to be anywhere other than your backyard. Watch for the places, watch for the opportunities, and follow the leads.